What is up, everybody? We are live and direct for another edition of the In the Dungeon Show. I want to thank you for joining me in conversation. I really appreciate it. A lot to talk about this evening, and I am pretty hyped to talk to you. So we'll get it started in a minute or two. Before I go out to them, I want to say what's up to the great Vicky, SG. They're stepping in early in the dungeon. I really appreciate it. If you are listening or watching for the first time, my name is Frank Red. How y'all doing out there? We do things a little differently, We talk about sports and music and the intersection of both, and anything else that is really topical. Some of the stuff that everybody else talks about, I try to stay away from. I'm not all that interested in it. But every now and then, I think the lunacy of it all deserves a conversation. So maybe I'll give you my opinion on the Shannon Sharpe. I don't know what you would call that. Embarrassment? That's the word that he used. So I'll use that word as well. This is the In the Dungeon Show. Hit the like button from the start so we can try to pump these numbers up. I hate doing that, but everybody does it. And it's so necessary, literally, when your biggest critic is an algorithm. That's where we are in 2024. So if you like it, hit the like button. Subscribe to the show. I'm still trying to learn how to simulcast the show on other platforms. So if you know how to do that and you're a techie, give me that information. I really appreciate it. All right. At the top of the list, I've listened to so many shows today, but the San Francisco 49ers went down to defeat today. They lost 23-17 to the Minnesota Vikings. For the second straight year, they lose to the Vikings on the road. And after Jordan Mason had played so well last week, he played well today as well. I think that most thought that the game would be tough for a lot of different reasons. First and foremost, anytime you play on the road, it's going to be a tough game. Second of all, people don't talk about this as much, but Brian Flores, the much maligned Brian Flores, former coach of the Miami Dolphins, is literally one of the best defensive minds in all of football. Nobody eats off his defenses. Nobody. So when they get you on that carpet, I've always been a Sam Darnold fan. Always been a Sam Darnold fan. And all he needed to do was mature. This kid came out of USC as a 20-year-old, and he was thrown to the wolves. More quarterbacks in the NFL are ruined than developed. I hate to see it. I'm so concerned with my guy Bryce Young in Carolina, because that's not the guy that I saw at Alabama. And I don't care how good you are as a player. If you're not protected, if you're not in a good environment that's conducive to you having success, you're not going to have any success. We'll get into college football as well. But I had a real long conversation last week with a Twitter fan about Colorado and about Shedeur Sanders. And speaking to the positive that I see in this young man. He can read defenses. He has a great arm. Vicky and I kind of differ a little bit on his elusiveness and his athleticism. But what a player, man. What an arm. If you protect him at any level, he's going to put numbers on the board. And the NFL defenses at this point, it isn't just offenses getting up to speed, like people like to say on a year-on-year basis. The defenses are far ahead of the NFL offenses. And it's because these gladiator, cyborg-type athletes that are being developed. If you can't block these guys, you get your quarterback killed. So we can talk about any game in the NFL if you want to. The best victory of the day has to go to the Raiders. has to. Antonio Pierce, you can say what you want to say about him. I'm sure a lot of people say a lot of positive things. He's a good football guy. But what a leader. His players are playing for him. That's admirable. And they're taking that that desire to perform and putting it into action. You go to Baltimore and you win, that's big time. So there's so many other games out there we're going to get into. But we're talking about the NFL. Specifically the 49ers. We want to talk about the Raiders. Any team. It's all good. College football. I got some thoughts on the Pac-12 coming back for obvious reasons. I've commented about that several times. WNBA, NBA news. There's a lot to chew on. We can get into a little bit of stuff about Tua, and I got real strong feelings about that as well. All right. Once again, I am Frank Red. This is the In the Dungeon Show. Let's go out and talk to some of the people. Vicky says, "Hi, Frank. I'm so disappointed with the O-line and the defense of the 49ers. Practice is important, and it showed up with the two players that missed training camp. Notre Dame looked unstoppable on Saturday. Yes, they did. 66-7 over Purdue, and they needed that. After losing to Northern Illinois, I mean, come on. And I agree, Vicky. Good Colorado win, because that's a real rivalry. And I think it's an underestimated rivalry. And we'll start to get a closer look at Colorado State as they move to the Pac-12, I guess. SG, what's up? He says, "Hi, Frank. How you doing, brother? I really love your YouTube channel. You make some really great content and keep up the good work. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm serious about you doing a lot of shows, man. I think it's great. The only way you're gonna get better is by doing shows." I am so impressed with this. My man, Aussie Rules from Bangkok, Thailand. How you doing, Aussie Rules? Thank you for tuning in. I guess it's about 12 o'clock on Monday. SG says, "I watched the movie Deadpool vs. Wolverine." Okay. It was very funny. 10 out of 10. Wow. Yeah, I don't like those funny action movies. I don't like those movies. I saw a movie this weekend. Now, it was late when I saw it, but it wasn't that great. And I'm not going to beat it up, but it just wasn't a great movie. It was called The Killer's Game by Bautista, the big Bautista guy. And, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't real good. So, I like action movies that are kind of realistic or crazy over the top, like John Wick type movies. I like those. All right. So. But yeah, let's get into the NFL though. I grew up as a kid, as you all know, learning about football through the lens of watching Bill Parcells and watching the New York Football Giants. And we're kind of going back to the future. I think coaches are playing it really close to the vest. Green Bay got a win today against the Titans with a backup quarterback, Malik Willis. If you watch Malik Willis play in the preseason as a Titan quarterback, this dude was slinging it. And Levitz, the guy who starts for the Titans, he was kind of given a job. I don't think it was a real fair competition. Malik Willis can play. And all the prognosticators who thought that just because Love went down, Green Bay was going to fall asleep, and just no. They got good coaching, they got a good defense, and they can make a couple of plays. And then once again, talking about losing players, the Giants losing Saquon Barkley was a big deal, and we're going to keep talking about that. But equally shocking to me, from a football perspective, was the Raiders letting Josh Jacobs leave. Now, there was acrimony in that relationship, so I'm not totally surprised that he's no longer there. But Josh Jacobs is doing exactly what good coaches want him to do. Just pound the ball. He's averaging over 150 yards a game, and it was a big part of why they won the game today against the Titans. Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin does not get the credit that he deserves. This guy's one of the best coaches in the history of football. You might think that it's hyperbole. It's not hyperbole as far as I'm concerned. So, is it beautiful football? If you like that style. I just like winning. 13-6 today. Denver didn't have a chance. They had no chance. Now, next week, against the Chargers, Justin Fields, if he continues to start, I think he probably will start, he's going to have to do more. Otherwise, Russell Wilson's probably going to get on the field, because you're not going to beat the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh 13-6. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to take a couple of touchdowns, 21, 20, 24, 21, because Jim Harbaugh, he's not going to lose. This dude is, again, one of the best football coaches out there. Whether he's coaching in college or he's coaching at the pro level, it's not going to change. He's going to play a physical brand of football. Why? Because it wins. You saw it tonight on display with the Texans versus the Chicago Bears. The Texans just dominated them with physicality. The Jets got their win today. Not surprised by that either. Everybody was talking about how bad Aaron Rodgers played against the 49ers. I didn't think he played bad at all. He wasn't out of this world good, but he certainly wasn't bad. What I was hoping for with Aaron Rodgers was that he doesn't get hurt. That's it, because he's not going to consistently turn it over. He's very accurate. He has high standards for himself and his teammates. And the Jets going to be good. They really are. And I know, Buffalo's out to a hot start. But when you look at the acrimony that's all kind of in place with Miami, players getting arrested unfairly, in my opinion. But nobody got arrested. They got handcuffed. Let me take that back. But there is some, there's some stuff going on in Miami that we'll get into also with regards to Tua Tagovailoa. So I think there's a window for the Jets. I do. SG says, I'm thinking about going to the Nevada-San Jose State game to see Brock Purdy's brother, Chubba Purdy, perform. Yeah, why not? I like college football. It doesn't really matter to me if it's like, quote, big-time football, or if it's just, local college kids or high school kids. That'd be a good watch. I think you should. Go check the game out and then report back. Aussie says, the Cowboys and Niners, Lions, Ravens, Rams lost. Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a problem. He wrecked the game today against the Rams. They had no chance. You get out 20-3 with that type of weaponry that Arizona has. Now, in the past, they haven't always played clean football, and they find a way to lose. But it isn't like they don't have talent. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is different. And, he might have had a couple of catches last week, but the Rams had nobody to guard him. Nobody. And, they're injured. I mean, Cooper Kupp is hurt. The other wide receiver's hurt. Nakua. So I think it's a good time for the 49ers to play the Rams, because even though they're well coached, they know each other, and the Rams generally play the 49ers very, very well. They're just injured. They're running out of bodies. So in this tough tough league. Anywhere you can get a win, you get it. So I think the 49ers are going to lick their wounds and go down to Los Angeles and definitely put together a better effort than they did today. And for those detractors of Brock Purdy, they had something to look at today, because Brock Purdy, we're not going to have a conversation about whether or not he's good. He's a good player, right? He's accurate, he's smart, he reads defenses. But, and I've heard people say this and they were shut down, but it's actually, there's some validity to it. He's not the type of quarterback that's going to ad-lib and make physical plays. That's just not what he does. He can ad-lib and find open wide receivers. And that works really well when you're winning, when you're leading, and when you're at home. But when you're playing against a tough-ass defense that you got to take everything because they're not going to give anything up, the game becomes a little more challenging for Brock Purdy. And before I came on air tonight, I'm thinking to myself, well, if you look at the 49ers, I think they got a really good chance to go back to the Super Bowl. And if they go back to the Super Bowl, none of their fans are going to be happy that they're there. No, nobody. It'd be the third time in the Lynch-Shanahan regime. You want to win one of them. And I think, well, how do you do that? I think the 49ers do that by establishing a physical running game. Not a running game that's gashing people for 20, 30-yard runs like McCaffrey can do. You want to have that in your bag, but you want to have also a running game that can inflict pain on the opposition. Because it's probably going to come down to maybe a possession or two against, the KCs of the world. So I think, and with Mason, I think that they feel that they have a guy who can be a great complement to Christian McCaffrey, who's different, who's very good, but he's different. He's definitely a more physical back than McCaffrey. And I think that bodes well for the 49ers if they find themselves in a situation where they have an opportunity to go to another Super Bowl. Okay, Vicky, I got you on the tour. Let me read that now. Vicky says, what do you think should happen with Tua? I don't want him dying on the field. I remember the line from Concussion. God didn't make men to play football. Yeah, Vicky, I'm probably a little different because I love sports, and when you love sports and you're really young like Tua is, and you feel that you not only have responsibilities to yourself, the game, the family, your teammates, you want to play. Now, I have a problem with million-dollar broadcasters offering opinions on what someone like Tua should do. After Tua was reasonably okay, what pissed me off was he didn't slide. That should be front and center. Because he's putting himself in harm's way. He's putting his career in harm's way, and his team. He didn't have to take that hit. Now that's secondary to, is he all right? I'm not a doctor, so my whole thing is before I go, yeah, he should play. This is no, that's barbaric, and I think it's stupid, and I'm not going to do that. What I will say is, if doctors legitimately, going through a real process. Now, I think the NFL has a real process at this point. If he's cleared to play and he wants to play, he should play. And I was thinking, like, I've been thinking about this, and I'm gonna say this. You know, I recently had an operation. I've had 3 or 4 operations in my life. If anybody has ever had an operation before, you know, and the doctors are talking to you, you know, it's kind of a casual conversation, but it's serious because things happen, you know, but yet, you know, we take those risks. Why? Because we think what's on the other side is better, getting healthy. You know, I'm not going to compare football to when we were in the pandemic, but nurses, truck drivers, I mean, people put themselves in harm's way for various reasons. I think at some point, you as an individual have to make the best decision for yourself once you've been cleared. And if you have not been cleared, then you should never play football or sports again. I also was thinking about who was a forward who played for Miami, played with Dwayne Wade and LeBron, played with Toronto all those years. Can't think of his name right now. But the Miami Heat would not okay him to play anymore. He had a big contract. They probably paid him $80-90 million. Help me out, y'all. You guys know what I'm talking about. I can't think of his name. I should know his name. But organizationally, they gave Tua a big-time contract. Obviously, they want to get their money back. You would assume that there are some insurance policies attached to that money, but we don't know. That's not the most important thing right now. What's the most important thing is his health. But, I mean, listen, when you look at what his family had to do to give him those opportunities, they moved their entire family from Hawaii to Alabama. And now I believe they're in Miami. So this is a business for them. He's a young guy. So I don't make decisions for athletes. I mean, I'm crazy enough to think that I could play if a doctor would okay me because I love playing. I love playing sports. Thank you, Ossie. I appreciate you. Chris Bosh. There you go. I can remember things I've done in 3rd grade, but I can't remember Chris Bosh's name. That was a real thing. When Chris Bosh had some issues with his heart, I believe it was his heart, or he had some health challenges. I'll just leave it at that, 'cause I don't know specifically the right terminology I should use with regards to his health. So I won't say heart. I retract that. But when Chris Bosh was in that situation where he was looking for doctors who would clear him, and he might have gotten somebody to clear him. I really don't know. I think the Miami Heat was like, dude, you're done. You know, and maybe the NBA was behind that as well, but they made a decision. If the NFL makes that decision that says that Tua can no longer play, then that means they're going to pay him, but he won't play again. You know, and sometimes it's necessary to do that. Vicky says Purdy is not athletic. He's not overly athletic. He's not a spaz either. I mean, he's not like Peyton Manning or anything. Peyton Manning really isn't athletic if you associate running to athleticism. Brock is, you know, decent athleticism, but he's not outrunning those guys. Yeah, you're talking about Tua. Tua hit Daryl Moore in the chest. Yeah, it was a crazy play. Thanks, SG, but Bosh. So, you know, NFL is dangerous, man. I mean, I try to look ahead. The NFL has all of these rules to try to, make the environment more safe for players. And I think they made some inroads, but it doesn't always work. Like this, this non-kickoff thing now. It's kind of silly, right, y'all? I mean, who likes this? I mean, NFL teams are like, listen, a touchback used to be 20 yards, 25, and now 30. We can stop a team from going 70 yards to score against us. It's not creating an environment where teams are going to run kickoffs. They're not. I mean, I almost look forward to college football now on Saturdays just to see a kickoff return. You're not going to eradicate violence and danger out of football. You're just not going to be able to do it totally. Can you make inroads? Can you make it safer for players? Yes, you can. But to alter the game in ways that I don't think moves it forward, I don't think it's a good idea. So I'm interested to get your thoughts on that, but I don't particularly like it. Hank Gathers. Hank Gathers was the basketball player who died on the court. From Philly, and he played at Loyola Marymount, and I was really, really sad. He was one of Don Staley's idols growing up as a child in Philly. Yeah, that was one of the darkest moments in college basketball. Yes, Loyola Marymount. I think I said that. Yep. Thank you, Ossie. I appreciate you. What do you guys feel about the rhythm of the 49ers? I think the rhythm's off a little bit. And, I'm a big believer in bond building. And I don't know. I mean, it isn't like they're not going to have a good season. They're going to have a good season. But it started with not being able to get players signed, players not working out. I'm not the biggest guy that says that you got to be at every practice and every off season, but I think it is important. I mean, I have not seen Trent Williams look as bad against anybody as he did today. I haven't seen that. He didn't lose his technique. He might be tired. I have no idea. But the rhythm is off a little bit. AB not in shape. You talking about Brandon Ayuk? Is that what you're talking about? I just think the chemistry and the bonding is really, really important. And I think everybody has to take some accountability for that, because my whole thing with regards to the 49ers and any professional organization, did you go in your backyard and dig the money up in a hole? Do you have a printing press in a back room in one of your mansions, and finally you found the key to open the door? It's just like, why the acrimony? Why go through this process? The contract that Brandon Ayuk ultimately signed, he could have signed a month ago if it was offered, but it wasn't offered. Everybody knew Trent Williams was going to get his money. Everybody knew that. That bothers me. I don't have a problem with Chase in Cincinnati not getting paid, because he got 2 years left on his deal. And if you're going to pay wide receivers with 2 years left on their rookie contracts, then you have no system. You have any and everybody thinking that they can do that. Are there special exceptions for whatever reason? Yeah. But that's not the rule. So I think Chase was out there on an island by himself because, especially based on Cincinnati's history, they were not going to pay him. I don't think that any team should be paying wide receivers with 2 years left on their deal. 1 year, yeah, that's pretty normal. That's standard operation in the NFL, but not 2 years. Mickey says Trent needed an IV the last game in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I saw that. And how old is Trent? Trent's 35, 36 years old. When you get to a certain point in your life, you feel it. I remember like the day I was on a basketball court, and usually like in the warm-ups, I'm playing a pro-am, I just get a ball, you go up, you dunk it, no problem, without a lot of stretching. And then I remember the day distinctly. You reach back casually to elevate, and something doesn't happen. You find yourself on the court waiting to jump, and there are players jumping all around you for rebounds over the rim. You kind of know there's coming to an end at that point. And it happens. There's not somebody who knocks on your door and says, listen, I'm the athleticism police. And, we're going to have to, have a withdrawal from your body. No, nobody says that. It just happens. And, Trent says he wants to play till he's 40. He can play till he's 40, but like everybody's alluding to, he's going to have to be in the best shape that he's ever been in his life. He's going to have to practice and do all the things necessary to build his stamina up and maintain his conditioning. So hopefully, he got his contract, he got his money, and moving forward, he can get back to being the Trent Williams I think everybody expects him to be on the court. Yes, Archie Rules, I know you're talking about BA. And I guess I'm a big supporter of players living up to their contracts once you get the money. So I like to see players outperform their contract once they get paid. And that's not always the case, unfortunately. You look at everybody who got paid with the 49ers, and they kind of off to a slow start. Christian McCaffrey has kind of reverted back, and he's pissed off. He's a gamer. But this is what happened to him in Carolina. He was highly paid, and he missed a lot of games. The 49ers extended his contract to make him the highest paid running back in all of the NFL. Fortunately, they have a good running back room, but Christian McCaffrey wants to be out there on the field, but he's hurt right now. BA has to ball out. It really does. So, but I want to give the Raiders a little credit. Gardner Minshew is just starting quarterback, and he's probably the lower quarter of starters in the NFL. Certainly a good player. But I think when you look at Gardner Minshew as your starter going into the season, your expectations have to be tempered a little bit. With that said, give him credit, man. Give him credit. He's playing good football. And the Raiders are winning games. And to beat the Baltimore Ravens, a team that's definitely going to be in the Super Bowl conversation, that's impressive. KC versus Cincinnati today, I knew it would be close, but I expected KC to win. If you can't win at home and you're a good team, then you're going to have problems. You're going to lose some games on the road that the home team just outplayed you. So I thought it was important that KC won the game today because Cincinnati went there with the expectation of winning. Why? Because they've won before. You know, they are not intimidated at all by Kansas City. And although Kansas City has won a lot of Super Bowls, they've been miraculous. It isn't like they're like blowing people out. They've been miraculous. Andy Reid, Mahomes, excuse me. They've made plays when they needed to make them in the most stressful and clutch situations. And that's what great teams do. But the margin for error, you know, it's not vast by any stretch of the imagination. Vicky says, they told CMC his Achilles could rupture if he didn't rest it for a while. Yeah. That's an injury you don't want. Fortunately, I've never ruptured my Achilles. I hope I never do. I probably won't because I'm really not playing competitive basketball anymore. Although I do ride the bike a lot and I do train players. So, and it could be a freak accident. People just rupture it. Sucks when it happens. As she says, now the Beavers and the Cougars will be joined by Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno, San Diego State. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited about the reclamation project that is the Pac-12. They should have never broken up in the first place. A couple of schools panicked, and then some more schools panicked. But this is the West Coast. This is pristine weather, talent base that rivals any geographic region in the country. Why would you give that up? Stupidity and greed. I put out a tweet earlier this week, and I don't know, maybe like 200 plus people ultimately saw it. But what was interesting was 21 people checked my profile from this one tweet. And I think when somebody checks your profile, it's actually, it actually makes a bigger statement than having somebody just simply like what you do. There are endorphins, there's some adulation I think that we all get if you're not jaded. If somebody likes your tweet and they say, hey, I like what you wrote, or if you like somebody's tweet, right? It feels good. But the connective tissue is really when they check your profile. Because there's something about you. What did this person say? Where is he or she, are they from? So in essence, what I said was, it's only a matter of time before Cal and Stanford rejoin the Pac-12. It's going to happen. Why? Because it makes too much sense. If you're serious about education, you are not requiring your athletes to travel 3,000 miles to play softball while they got classes in a couple of, it is an affront to serious education. So I think ultimately the Pac-12 will be back together again. It actually might be more than 12 teams 10 years from now. The Pac-12 has always kind of, held their noses against some of the, the regional universities that might have wanted to join, i.e. Fresno State, Colorado State. San Diego State was a natural marriage, and Boise State is not a big TV market, but what a sports program. Look at their history. The Pac-12 is actually going to be kind of fun. If you can get Cal and Stanford back, my big, bright idea, and I've talked about this for several years, I would love to see UC Davis elevated and invited as a Pac-12 member. That region of the country, the Davis, Sacramento area, they need a big-time football program. I don't think that UC Davis should start right away. There should be a building up, but I think in, say, 5 years, 3 to 5 years, UC Davis should be in the Pac-12 with a nice stadium that holds about 45,000. Increase what they have. I still haven't heard anybody tell me why that's a bad idea. Academically, they match. They'd be one of the top universities in the Pac-12. Papo Jones, what's up? I'm chilling, man. I'm having fun talking to you and everybody else. Aussie Rules says Stanford and Cal committed oh my God. You think they could break that, Aussie? I mean, you think the ACC really wants Stanford and Cal if they don't want to be there? I mean, a commitment to 2036 is intimidating. But in the grand scheme of things, there has to be out clauses. You know that. I mean, why would you go into an agreement with the ACC and not have some type of out clause, penalty clause that you have to pay some money? I think they're coming back to the Pac-12. Aussie went to UC Davis. I went to UC Davis. Love teams win. I'm not quite sure what that meant. Is it a good idea or is it a bad idea? What do you think? I would love to see him in the Pac-12. San Jose is still part of the Mountain West. Yeah, I mean, they should be a part of the Mountain West forever. They should. Yeah. Cal's best linebacker transferred from UC Davis. It's time. It's time. Sacramento is not Sacramento anymore. Davis, can grow. They got a Division I basketball program that does okay. They got a 10,000 seat arena. I'm still waiting for a reason why it's not a good idea. Oh, okay, Vicky. Aussie Rules, how about this? Vicky says, I thought it was only 3 years for Cal and Stanford. Hello? You play to win the game. No, that makes more sense to me. Which would open the door for Cal and Stanford to come on back home. All right? So we'll see what happens. SG, I'm not going to read the Mountain West teams because we all know who the Mountain West teams are. Aussie says need major buyout. Yeah. Think about this though. Yeah, I think Vicky's probably right, Aussie. Vicky, yeah, it's probably 3 years. Now here's the thing. If you are Apple TV, if you're Amazon Prime, you got countless streams of cash, and you have, the weekly broadcast rights for Pac-12 games. You need the content. All the Pac-12 needed to do is just be patient. That's all they needed to do, but they were greedy. The presidents of those universities were too greedy. The big boys, the Oregons, the Washingtons, the USCs, the UCLAs of the world, they kicked their peers to the curb. That's all that was. Went and got the check. And actually, for Washington, for Oregon, it don't really matter. They'll be fine. And USC they'll be okay for a while because they want the money. They have the national brand. And I don't know. I didn't go to USC. I don't know how rigorous their student athletes have it. I really don't know. Certainly not going to disparage that university, because I know of a young man from the Bay Area who went down to USC who's doing great things in the business world. So they have great students, but there's a focus. I think some of the other schools' focus is a little different. Certainly Stanford and Cal. Vicky says, what do you think about the Notre Dame quarterback? I watched him a lot at Duke, Leonard, and Notre Dame wanted him as their quarterback, and then they wanted to reinvent who he was. This dude is not a pocket passer. He can make some throws, but he's a rugged runner, Newt Rodney type of football player. He's old school. And that's what they got to. I mean, he should be running the football at least 15 times a game off of play action. And I think their coach realizes that, and they put it on Purdue, didn't they? They really did. I like watching Notre Dame football. I actually didn't see the game. I just saw the score. But no college team coaches their players better than Notre Dame. They're comparable universities. But if you look at the NFL, it doesn't matter what the position is. Notre Dame has a player at every position. Every position. Why? Because of the level of coaching. Yeah. Same goes for Stanford. Historically, Stanford has always coached their players up. So they have a wide range of players in the NFL. Coaching matters, man. Alabama, they coach their players. ACC gets Bay Area viewers, fourth biggest market, USA. No. I get why the ACC wants to do it. They get the late game on the West Coast, which is, ad revenue opportunities, the prestige of having Stanford and Cal. But I mean, realistically, how taxing is it on the players? And then you got to consider the economics of it. Unless you're gonna, I don't know how many varsity sports they lost or they still have. I don't know, but there's a lot of travel. A lot of travel. I want to talk about the Colorado Buffaloes and Deion. I don't like the fact that Deion can't rise above the pettiness. Because again, by the letter, he's done great things at Colorado. But he got rabbit ears though. I mean, does everybody love him? No. Are there some media types out to get him? Are there some players on other teams talking stuff about Colorado that they can't back up? Yes. All of that is true. But at the end of the day, you're Deion Sanders. You're the Hall of Fame NFL player, multiple 3-time Super Bowl winning player, father of a top 5 prospect and another guy, Shiloh, who's going to be a 3rd-round pick. I think Deion should be above the pettiness and just go out and do what he did this past Saturday, which is coach his team up. And I want to see Shador be above it as well. because because the media is always looking for stuff to to ding you on. Stay focused. I actually like how Travis Hunter handles himself. He never allows himself to kind of get on that level of pettiness. He doesn't. He just goes out and does incredible things, man. This dude is like Charles Woodson. I can't remember a player like him in a long time. It's not that players don't play multiple positions, and it's kind of cute, but we know what their best position is. Tell me what Travis Hunter's best position is at the college level, because I don't know. I don't know what it is. He's arguably a top 5 wide receiver, and he's the best DB in all of college football. Nobody's on his level. He's one of the most fascinating, extraordinary football players that we've seen in a long time. Must-see TV. Love watching him play. Aussie Rule says, Brody Brazil, formerly of NBC Sports Bay Area, said Cal and Stanford commitment until 2036. Yeah, okay, again. That's a big number. I probably won't be around to see if they live up to that commitment. But commitments can be broken, right? So, we'll see. Does it make any sense for Cal and Stanford to be in the ACC? I don't think so. SG says Travis Hunter is a gamer. Yes, he is. Wait a minute. 36. That's only 12 years. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here. Excuse me. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here. Vicky says, that was a good game. Dion might have a difficult time in the NFL with Rabbiters. Might eat him up. Yeah, no. He wouldn't stand a chance. I mean, he's Big Willie on Colorado's campus. Why? Because he's making them money. And let's be fair to Dion. Dion probably has one of the most expensive coaching staffs in that league. Fritz Shermer has to be making $1 million, 1.5. His coaches get paid. So, I've seen remarkable improvement in the level of play from the Colorado players. I'm not talking about the quarterback and the wide receivers. I'm talking about in the trenches, on the offensive line, the defensive line, their linebackers. Shiloh hasn't played in a couple of weeks, and their DBs on the back end are playing good football. They shut out Nebraska for a half. But most of the people who comment about football, I'm not going to say most, but there's a lot of people who talk about football and sports in general that don't really know sports. It's just kind of fun to talk about it, which is why a lot of times when you have these shows, they have a lot of people on the shows. Because it's hard to kind of just like you talk about it and espouse your knowledge. It's hard to do that because you got to be knowledgeable. But if you just kind of share your opinions back and forth with somebody and add somebody else, if everybody's informed and knowledgeable, then it makes for a great show. If that's not the case, what it makes for is a show that's easier to do. Right? That's a fact. But I watch football. I play football. I am very impressed with these young men at Colorado. And fortunately for Colorado, they don't have a very strong schedule. SG, I think everybody can see your comments, but I want everybody to see how weird they are. Check this out. Frank, with the glasses on, you look like an African American version of Jeff Goldblum. Really? Every time we think that you're okay, then you say something like that. I've never heard that before. Speaking of Cal deserves more than just a kind of a casual head nod. They're playing some good football. They really are. San Diego State might be the most undisciplined football team in college right now. That was horrific. All the penalties that they had Saturday night. So, you kind of expected Cal to beat them. But I'm still on that. I'm still on that Auburn win. That was a great win. They're 3-0 now. Wilcox, the head coach, got his bones as a defensive coordinator up at Oregon, and they play good football, man. They got one of the best running back rooms in all of college. They got a star freshman wide receiver. Their quarterback is a good, solid quarterback as well. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate you. That's what happens when you don't really have anything, real. When you can't make a statement that adds to the conversation, you just kind of say random stuff. Is there another West Coast team or semi-West Coast team that you think the Pac-12 might be looking at? Because they got 6 teams committed now, allegedly. They need 2 more. What are some other, what are a couple of teams or a team or two that you might think would be pretty good for this group? I can think of one because of geography, and certainly not because they've been any good, although they're decent this year, and that's Las Vegas. I mean, if you can have Fresno State in the Pac-12, you can have Las Vegas. You can have UNLV in the Pac-12. That would not surprise me. If you're saying Colorado State, come on in. Boise State, come on in. Las Vegas is a market that you want. Why? Because the Raiders already have a stadium built. You immediately have one of the most luxurious football stadiums to play in. It looks great on television, and they got a lot of money. There's no reason why they're not good. So keep your eye on UNLV as well. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. So far, Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders has looked the best of all the rookies. It looks like he's playing at LSU. No problem. And I think they've insulated him well with a good team around him. It's real physical on the offensive, defensive lines. But like we were talking about before, he has a level of athleticism that those other quarterbacks don't have, those rookies. And he can throw the ball also. So, stock up on Jaden Daniels. I'm happy to see it. I've never heard him speak and said to myself, wow, that's a wonderful guy. Every time that he said something, it's very poignant. It's very matter of fact. It's very right on it resonates to me that the moment isn't too big for him. You know, kind of like Stroud, kind of like CJ Stroud. I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of CJ last year. Like, we see the flash plays, we see the highlights, but watching him play tonight under duress against a good Chicago defense, he managed that game. You know, when they rushed him, he was able to absorb it, make pinpoint accurate throws. He's a leader. Jayden Daniels, I think, has a lot of those characteristics. Does UNLV have a football team? No, they got a football team. A pretty good one right now. They've had a football team forever, Vicky. Randall Cunningham went to UNLV. The last time they won 10 games, Randall Cunningham was a quarterback. So throughout the years, they've just been horrible. But now is it's a new day. And I think with facilities that they have with the Raiders, the influx of infrastructure in that city, the changing population to a certain degree, UNLV is a place where I think that you can, it's going to be tough to paint in between the lines for obvious reasons, but they have the resources to build a really good football program in Las Vegas. Much better than the A's going to Vegas, which is going to be a complete disaster. Anybody who wants to talk about what's going on in Sacramento and how that might not come through as well, we can do that also. I've said it a time and time again, and you guys know this. That is a complete disaster. The A's going to Vegas. Terrible. Aussie Rule says, build the Pac-12 around basketball first, football second thoughts. Sounds nice, Aussie, but the money doesn't compare. It just doesn't. And it's always about the money. These TV networks, these app networks, the Apples of the world, the Amazon Primes, there might even be like another one pop up. They're going to pay big money for football because football has the eyeballs. Basketball is fun. Maybe you could have like a Gonzaga only entry into a Pac-12 in basketball. That would kind of be exciting because they're going to be good. It's going to get fused there. Vicky says, yeah, okay. I just watch the basketball. Yeah, most people. Frank, you're goofy and funny. I am goofy. And I have an interesting sense of humor. I don't know. People figure out if I'm funny or not. I don't know. I say funny stuff. I don't know if I'm funny. You think I'm funny? No, I don't know. I am a child, though. I'm a really big child. Yes, Vicky, you ready to sign up for that? 125 degrees to go watch the A's play in Vegas? Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. I don't think so. What's up, Keys? Thank you for stepping in the dungeon. Appreciate you. What's up, Frank? Niners got spanked. We need help on defense. That was pathetic. With all their best players hurt at the end of the game. And we couldn't stop them embarrassing Vikings outcoached us. Yeah. But you should have saw that coming from based off last year. The Vikings are a good team. And they zeroed in on Sam Darnold because they knew they could get him for a decent price. He makes $10 million. as a starter. Their defense was lights out last year. Brian Flores, don't ask Tua, but he was very successful as a head coach. His Belichickian coaching style that he employed with Tua didn't work to Tua's advantage, but the guy can coach football and he can lead men. And I think he probably comports himself like a head coach of the defense. And O'Connell just kind of runs the offense. They're good. It's not the end of the world with the 49ers. Their big game is next week. Because anytime you play on the road against anybody, I don't care who you play, you can lose. You should not be losing to Carolina on the road. But most of the other teams you can lose. The 49ers can't lose to the Rams. Even though they're playing in Los Angeles, it has to be viewed as kind of a home game when you look at the players who are hurt for the Rams. Coming off such a stinging loss to the Vikings, you would think the 49ers would be, spitting gas and ready to go. So we'll see what's up. Now, I don't think I mentioned Peacock. Vicky, I think you and I are on the same page. Oh, I already hate. Oh, you have? I don't have Apple TV. Yeah. I'm really not one of these app guys. The only app that I have is Amazon Prime. And I rationalize having Amazon Prime because on occasion I do get packages, but economically it's probably not the best situation for me, but I'm going to keep it. But I don't have Apple and I don't have Peacock. What is you guys' cable bill a month? My cable bill a month is $300 a month. They're laughing at me. I pay $300 a month for my cable bill. It's ridiculous. No. See, you think you're funny. And see, you're not funny, dude. Frank, you and I would make a great comedy duo. And no. Wow, Vicky. Do you share the bill with somebody? Your cable bill is $40 a month? Man, I need to get on with that. I do have all the channels. But I don't need that many. Wanted to slide in a NBA topic conversation. Jonathan Kuminga. Camps open. You guys believe camps open up in 2 weeks? All right. The Warriors probably have another month and change before they can sign Kuminga to an extension. 140 million to 155. Can't see that happening. Can't. When you have other players who have not done who have not done more than what Kuminga has done, I'll say that. Getting significantly more money. When you pay Kuminga, you're paying him with the notion that Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, they're not going to be there. So he's your guy. Even if your team isn't where you want it to be, he is your star. He's your guy. So you got to pay him. Or trade him. Trade him for a draft pick. And that's probably not going to go over that well. So I think 180 million is a respectable contract in this crazy era of exorbitant salaries. I think they're gonna have to get close to 180. That's my thought. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think they're gonna have to. The Warriors going camping in Hawaii. Yeah, that's gonna, that's kind of cool. I would assume that it's Maui. Is it Maui, Vicky? Because Don Nelson's over there. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Don Nelson, isn't involved, and I don't know, maybe simply guest appearances or whatever. But why would you have a guy like Don Nelson in your back pocket geographically and not use him if he wants to espouse his knowledge on basketball? But Don Nelson lives in Maui. So Vicky says Kuminga wants 200 million. Yeah, I you know what? I don't blame him, but I think 180 is respectable. So if he can get, somewhere between 180 million and I don't know, 210 or whatever the case, that's respectable to me. But at least 180 million. I don't think he's going to sign for less than that. And I think the Warriors probably want to change the pace. Different scenery, easier camp, players. They can kind of control the environment a little bit more in Hawaii. And they should do it every year. The Warriors should train in Hawaii all the time. Vicky says Don is smoking. Oh yeah, he's very proud of it too. Him and his boy Willie Nelson, right? His neighbor Willie Nelson, they're over there sparking it up. Yeah. I guess it has some medicinal qualities to it. I'm not a weed smoker. I don't smoke weed. I mean, is there? Am I missing out? Should I be smoking weed? I don't need it for my joints yet and all that type of stuff. I'm still doing pretty good. So I don't smoke weed. I don't do any drugs, period. I'm missing out on a lot of sponsorships, I guess. RC Rules says, Frank, maybe you can team with SG, talk cricket, niche, educate U.S. market about cricket. Nah, I'm gonna let SG die on that vine by himself. I'm not doing that. Not the kid. He says, I hope Kuminga's working on his handles because I'm seeing improvement everywhere else. Yeah, I mean, he made strides in his ball handling skills over the past couple of years. I assume he is. I'm impressed with these NBA guys. The tapes that a lot of these guys put out, have you guys seen that Paul George tape? Paul George right now, and if I'm the Clippers organization or a teammate, I'm pissed off. Paul George is probably 15 pounds lighter right now than he was last year. He looks fantastic working out with the Philadelphia trainers, getting it in. So don't tell me that these guys don't care. They care. These women care. Look at what Caitlin Clark did post-Olympic break. She's not a totally different player, but she came back significantly better. I think she's probably in the gym. SG, I'm not going to put any of your stuff on air about cricket. No, I'm not doing that, man. Looney needs to work on his free throws. I agree with you. I mean, to be honest, Vicky, this is just me. I don't think anybody who earns a check playing basketball should shoot less than 70% from the free throw line. I want to say 75, but when you include pressure, fatigue, and all that, I get it. But no human being who plays basketball and gets paid should shoot under 70% from the free throw line. It's embarrassing. It is utterly embarrassing. Know why? Because free throw shooting is all muscle memory. You could have the most absurd form in the world. If you shoot 500 free throws a day, 500 to 1,000 over X amount of days or weeks, months, you're going to be able to make free throws. If you're not a good free throw shooter, you're not putting the time in. I know, because I played the game. You know, that it's utterly embarrassing. I saw Looney's workout video. This was pretty impressive. I heard Looney lost weight. No. Looney has lost about 15, 20 pounds. You know, I think, you know, he probably got with a better nutritionist, backed away from, you know, red beans and rice, collard greens, potato salad, fried chicken, you know, just pushed himself back a little bit and got in the gym, got on a good diet. That's another thing, right? We don't give Stephen Curry's wife enough credit for his success. His wife is a chef. She knows what goes in his mouth down to the morsel, to the half calorie. Can you imagine that? Every day you go home and you're going to eat a scrumptious meal and you already know the amount of calories that you have is going to be conducive to you staying in shape and maintaining your optimal physical fitness. Anisha, right? That's her name. Give her a shout out, man. She deserves it. Vicky says, they lost so many games. The last 2 years, I missed free throws. Listen. I will never understand. I don't believe it. I do not believe that if you shoot, again, countless free throws, you can improve. Anybody, particularly basketball, if you have like ability, that's why Kobe Bryant used to get so disgusted with teammates and players, because this dude was passionate about basketball. And as talented as Kobe Bean Bryant was, nobody outworked him. Nobody outworked him. I talked to some of Kobe's teammates on the Lakers, and they used to tell me, yo, Red, when we come to practice in the morning, Kobe's already had a 2-hour workout. He's had a massage. He's done yoga for an hour. That level of dedication is, man, we all miss him every day. That level of dedication is just unbelievable that Kobe Bryant had. Key says, always thought the bigger you are, the harder it was to make free throws. That's why centers are bad at it. Okay, Keith, that's their agents feeding that stuff to the media. That's absurd. You got big, and look how big my hands are. I got big hands. Career, 75% free throw shooter. You either can shoot or you can't shoot. You know, you either practice or you don't practice. So many guys that came through the NBA, I mean, Rick Barry approached a lot of guys to shoot underhanded. They wouldn't do it. I don't know if it's for everybody. It looks kind of different. But nobody in the NBA should be shooting under 70% from the free throw line if you put the time in. I stand by that. Any thoughts on Arch Manning debut? Pretty impressive. I'm happy I finally got a chance to see, you know, the young man play because, you know, he came, you know, obviously in high school, he put up crazy numbers. And then when he got to Texas, I mean, there was a hype machine that started. And it was kind of interesting with all of the hype, he couldn't beat out Quinn. And then there were reports around, it's all BS, he's not that good. So I'm happy that we got a chance to see him play. He doesn't look like he has the strongest arm, though. And I don't know if you have to have the strongest arm. Peyton didn't have the strongest arm. Eli didn't have the strongest arm. I just want to see the young man be successful. That's all. And yesterday was pretty impressive. I like my college quarterbacks right now. You know, players that you look at and you think can ascend to the next level. Shador, Cam Ward, Evers looks decent. He got his the right measurables. Jalen Milroe, whew. Those are the dudes that I saw. Are there any other dudes out there I'm missing? But if you have, in any given year, if you got 3 or 4 quarterbacks who can actually have an opportunity to have a career in the NFL, that's pretty damn good. So how did you feel about it, Keith? Were you impressed as well? Vicky Steph shoots 500 a day. Free throws. Whew. And what is Steph? A career, what, 93, 94% free throw shooter? 95? That man's dedication is just, again, it's on another level. I'm so happy for De'Aaron Fox. Stephen Curry could have picked numerous players, numerous athletes to join him, you know, like the Curry brand. And he picked De'Aaron Fox. Says a lot about his character. And it's going to be a win for De'Aaron. Disappointed with how the Giants are fading. Not that I'm a fan, because I'm not really a fan. But I thought they'd finished 500. They're now 8 games below 500. The season was over. I feel sorry for their fans. I mean, you know. And I'm not confident that any regime that they have in place can go out and get some boppers. I think you got to develop those guys. If you are the San Francisco Giants, and I'm going to tell you why. A lot of people who live on the East Coast, they've never been to California. California is so far. You know, it's like going to the moon. If you're a kid growing up in Philly, if you're a kid growing up in New York, going to California is like going to literally like another planet. I'm being facetious, but you know LA, you know San Francisco, but you really know LA because it's warm in the beaches. The Giants have to develop their own players, I believe. Vicky says, I've been disappointed in the Giants. If I was a fan, I would be disappointed because it isn't like you look at the future and go, oh yeah, well, we'll get better. I don't think that's the case. I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about LL Cool J. LL Cool J has a brand new album out, and I haven't heard every track on the album, but I'm hearing more and more. And LL was, you're talking about a phenom. LL Cool J was hip hop's first superstar. And I think he kind of feels a way that time allows people to forget, because he owned that mantle for such a long period of time. I don't believe that age matters in music, particularly hip hop. I don't believe so. I think that was an illusion created by exploitive record labels. Because when you're young and you don't know anything, you can be exploited very easily. Record labels love that. As you get older and you get screwed a couple of times and you actually learn the business, you're not going to stand for someone to exploit you like that. So, best case scenario is to have a stream of younger artists who are actually talented. But what if they're not that talented? Then you got to create stuff. Well, this is the new music. You can't compare it to the old. No. When I listen to a Marvin Gaye song from 30 years ago, it still sounds good. I don't listen to Marvin Gaye, Smokey, Stevie Wonder, go, well, that was good during Stevie Wonder's era. No. Talent is talent. I would say LL's album is solid. Solid effort. Is it spectacular? I didn't hear that, but I think it's really solid. On a scale of 1 to 5, I would be willing to give it a 4. If I was grading really, really hard, then maybe a 3.5, but I'm going to give it a 4, which is more than respectable. The best song on there to me is the joint with Eminem. Really like that. They did a video for that too. How far would the Dodgers go in the playoffs? The Dodgers will go as far as their pitching takes them, Vicky. And they've had players go down. So they're fun. They're really talented. But the teams that pitches the best, it's going to win the World Series. I got to put that up there, Vicky. Hold on. Arch has average arm like Peyton and Manning, like Peyton and Eli. But when I see him run for 67 yards TD, I was thinking Mobile Manning would be unstoppable. Yeah, people are excited. It wouldn't surprise me if he is the #1 pick in next year's draft, because football intelligence is so important at the highest level. No one's going to be more prepared mentally than Arch Manning. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be successful. And I got to put this up there. My favorite rapper is Frank Red. Vicky, thank you. Vicky, check this out. I'll tell everybody. I finished another song yesterday. I was in the studio yesterday for about 2 or 3 hours arranging a song called My First Coach. And I'm very proud of this song. Very proud. And I can't wait to release it, probably like a month. The cool thing about me and my music is I was such a fan. I'm such a fan of hip hop. And to be able to make music that can be played after my favorite rapper's record and not feel embarrassed, that's incredible. that level of self-pride, I didn't know if I could ever reach that. But I've done that. I'm a real artist. And I make real music. And it's good. And how do I know it's good? Because I'm a tough-ass critic. I'm tough. If it doesn't really like build a relationship with my ear, then I don't listen to it. So I'm very proud of this song called First Coach. Proud of all my stuff. And when some random person likes my song on the internet that doesn't know me from a can of paint, that's an incredible feeling. It's about legacy. It's not about money. They're not going to put a dime in the grave with us. My Patriots really make me sick. Why is that? I mean, I've been pretty impressed with the Patriots thus far. They've won a game. They've been in a game. But I guess if you're a real fan, you know, you don't want to play horseshoes on a football field. You want to win, right? I get you. I am not happy about the Patriots offseason moves. Who's going to go to New England? Come on. They tried. They tried to get Ayuk. No, free agents are not going to go to New England. You know that. That's why they drafted good players and they coached them up. I mean, Miami? Oh, that's different. Oh, Tampa? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can get with that. LA? Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe Las Vegas? Oh, yeah, I can get with that. Boston? Probably not. Which is sad because, I mean, the money's green up there. Vicky says, they said Joe Montana didn't have a great arm, wasn't mobile, wasn't athletic. Well, that wasn't true. He didn't have the strongest arm. But, you know, Joe Montana was a high-level basketball player in Pennsylvania, coming out of high school. He's one of the top basketball players in that area. He's legitimately 6'3", too. So they said he was nice in basketball. I never saw him play. Played with Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice was one speed. Didn't really have a mid-range. He just go full speed to the basket. SG says, I love this song. Let's get it. By Marvin Gaye, and it's the steamiest. Really? Are you by yourself when you listen to that Marvin Gaye song, SG? Drake. Oh, Drake may need help. Yeah. I just want to see the kid on the field. Ayuk and Trent look out of shape. Yeah, I mean, well, they haven't been on the field. It's going to take some time. The Patriots still need to find a number one wide receiver. I agree. He had a brain. I know she's talking about Montana. I agree with you. We always do this to each other. We enthrall and entertain each other so much that the 90 minutes comes in like a meteor, zooming past planet Earth to worlds unknown. What's your thought on the New York Liberty after the bad game they had today? Everybody has bad games. I didn't see the final score. I know Brianna had 38, but this is their year. I mean, they were embarrassed last year. They were embarrassed on their home court. The Aces clinched the WNBA championship on their home court. I don't think somebody didn't play. Chelsea Gray didn't even play, right? If I remember correctly. New York Liberty is right there. You know, I mean, everybody has a bad game every now and then. I saw Sabrina had 13, so I assume she didn't play all that well. But I like the Liberty. But I think they're going to have to ratchet up the nasty if they want to win the championship. Because Minnesota's coach, she's nasty. And she makes sure that her women play a nasty, tough brand of basketball. She's won at least 4 championships. The Aces have won championships. So, you know, no one's going to feel sorry for the nice little Liberty. No, they're going to have to, you know, they're going to have to get it out the mud. And, you know, they've kind of been a thing in Brooklyn and in New York, but their fans want them to really challenge and win a championship. Why not? It's there for them. Those are my feelings. All right. Did you hear that the Warriors are not going to give John Kuminga the extension he wants? Yeah. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I think the Warriors need to get with the program. And the program is either pay your young players or trade them. Are these young players overpaid? Yeah, they are. But NBA teams' values are overblown. So on one end, as an NBA owner, you want to inflate it investment, because that's what they are. It's okay for the Warriors to be worth $7 billion when, what should they be worth? 3, 4? But a player, my God, you know, 180 million, he hasn't done anything. Well, come on now. I'm not emotional about it because it's not my money. I love to see players get paid. Love it. Right? You will never become a billionaire until you are 100 millionaire first. You know, you hear guys like Stephen Curry saying that I would like to be an NBA owner. No one's going to give Stephen Curry an NBA franchise for free. You got to buy it. So, like Vicky said, I'm hoping that they can meet somewhere that both sides are comfortable with it. I think 180, maybe 185 is probably the number. Apparently, Kuminga wants 200 million. Don't worry about what somebody else gets. You know, make your own decision. I think 180 is a decent number. You know, you play in a great market. There are many revenue streams out here. And you play for a great organization. So, you know, we'll see. Key says, is there any more good R&B artists around, or am I just too old, around 50, to appreciate the new generation music, or more like it just doesn't compare? The cynic in me would say that it's just not that good. I'm a stay there. I mean, the music isn't as good. It's not. The talent is there. There's some talented artists. You know, the talent doesn't, but the living has changed. These artists of the past, I mean, think about this. Motown had writers on staff. They had music. All of those guys, Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye, they were writers before they had hit records, writing for other people. Stevie Wonder? I'm on my Bruce Springsteen kick right now. The older I get, the more I appreciate and I like Bruce Springsteen's music. Why? Because of the songwriting. Because I'm a songwriter. I mean, and I drive a lot. So when I'm driving and I got Sirius satellite radio, I listen to a lot of stuff, but Springsteen station gets run in my car. And I can listen to like 40, 50 minutes of Springsteen classics. This past weekend, Mary's Place. I'd never really heard that record. I love that record. I mean, Bruce Springsteen is an incredible storyteller. Just incredible. I think Rosalita's probably my favorite, but what an artist. If you're into Bruce Springsteen, if you are a Bruce Springsteen fan, you must be in heaven, when he does a show. Talented dude. Vicky says, I'd like Steph to win another ring before it's over. Yeah, me too. Thoughts on what the Red Sox need to do in the offseason, the mess they have right now? I don't follow them that closely. I wish I could offer something tangible, but I can't with the Red Sox. They got the money. Mickey, don't worry about it. I mean, it's in the chat. I'm sure it's annoying, but those comments are not going to see the light of day. So don't worry about it. All right. Thank you, though. Thank you for protecting the show. I appreciate you. All right, everybody. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna get out of here. Once again, I forgot to tell you to hit the like button. Hopefully, you have done so to help the show. Follow me on X at Big Frank Red. And also, if you know how to simulcast podcasts to different platforms, hit me up. Let me know. I need the knowledge. I've watched some things, but I still need to learn how to do that. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get out of here, all right? Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you're an individual, don't do things to help other people make their lives better. As far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. I want to thank you once again for checking out the In the Dungeon Show. We are content rich, heavy, and listener friendly, I'll say, like it should be. Okay, have a great week. Maybe I'll pop in, but I'll be back on next Sunday night, but maybe I'll get in throughout the week. Everybody be safe, and I'll talk to you down the road. Peace.